Gout Gout was born in Brisbane on the 29th of December 2007 and raised in Ipswich, Queensland. His parents are originally from South Sudan. They fled their country, spent time in Egypt, and arrived in Australia in 2005, 2 years before Gout was born. He grew up 40 kilometers from Brisbane, the city that will host the 2032 Olympics. His coach, Dee Shepherd, first spotted him at 12. At 15, he broke the Australian under 1:8.200 meter record. At 16, he erased Peter Norman's national 2:00 meter record, a mark that had stood for 56 years since the 1968 Mexico City Olympics. Athletes do not erase 56-year records at 16. But Gout Gout did. In August 2024, he won silver in the 200 meters at the World Under 2:0 Championships in Lima, Peru, clocking 20.6 seconds at age 16. 2 months later, Adidas signed him to a professional contract before he had finished school. Then came September 2025, the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. Gout was 17 at a senior world championship where men in their late 20s typically dominate. He reached the 2:00 meter semifinals, finishing fourth in 20.36 seconds, 1 spot short of the global final. Nobody knew what April 2026 was about to look like. The 12th of April 2026, Sydney Olympic Park Athletics Centre, the same track built for the Sydney 2000 Olympics, the same dais where history had already been made before. Gout had written one number in his training notes that week, 19.75 seconds. He repeated it to himself every morning. When the gun fired, 22-year-old Aidan Murphy refused to play the role of backdrop. He pushed Gout hard through the curve and into the straight. Gout went somewhere he had never gone before. He crossed the line in 19.67 seconds. The numbers behind that time are staggering. He became the first Australian man ever to break the 2:0 second barrier in the 200 meters. He broke the ratified World Under 2:0 record of 19.69 seconds held by American Ariane Knighton since 2022. He ran faster than Usain Bolt ever had as a teenager. Bolt's best time before turning 20 was 19.93 seconds, set in 2004. Gout is at 19.67. He is ahead of the greatest sprinter in human history at the same point in their career. On raw times, that performance would have earned bronze at the Paris 2024 Olympics. The top 7 finishers in Sydney all set personal bests. This was not a local track day dressed up in championship clothing. This was a generation announcing itself. The reaction was global and immediate. France's L'Équipe called the run supersonique. Belgium's Sporza labeled him a teener phénomène, a teenage phenomenon. But the response that mattered most came from a man who knows what it feels like to stand exactly where Gout Gout is standing now. Usain Bolt has 8 Olympic gold medals. He holds the world records in both the 100 meters, 9.58 seconds, and the 200 meters, 19.19 seconds. Both have stood since 2009. He retired in 2017, and no one has come close to either mark since. When reporters in Geneva asked him about Gout Gout, where Bolt was attending the Watches and Wonders show, he had already said publicly that the teenager looks like young me. This time, he went deeper. He spoke not as a fan of the speed, but as someone who had lived through the identical moment and understood every danger inside it. He's a young talent, Bolt said, a massive young talent. I just hope he finds the right people. What Bolt said next is the part people need to hear. Because it was not a celebration. It was a warning, the kind only someone who has been through it can give. At that young age, because I was there, you start getting pulled left and right, and then you forget track and field. He continued. Hopefully, he has the right set of people to guide him and keep him focused on track and field, because the rest of the stuff will always be there. But if you mess up on track and field, then it all goes away. Bolt was speaking from memory. After winning the 2:00 meter gold at the 2002 World Junior Championships in Kingston, Jamaica, at just 15 years old, the youngest male World Junior champion ever in any event, he went home a star. The attention came instantly. The distractions followed fast. Everyone wanted a piece of him. He drifted, eating fast food, staying out late, losing focus. The speed never left, but the discipline nearly did. He knows what early fame can do to a young athlete. He knows it does not always end well. Bolt also had a second message, aimed at the sprint circuit itself. He told CNN that when Gout steps into Diamond League competition, the experience will be a genuine shock. I remember coming out of high school, going on the circuit. I felt like I was on top of the world because I was winning and running good. When I got on the circuit, I didn't win one race. He paused, then added, I know it's going to be an eye-opener, and I hope it doesn't get him down but motivate him to work even harder. That is not discouragement. That is the truth that prepares a champion. Here is where the Gout Gout story gets precise. The path ahead of him is not just shaped like Bolt's, it is essentially identical. In 2002, at 15, Bolt won the 200-meter gold at the World Junior Championships in Kingston. He turned that junior title into the launchpad for 8 Olympic golds and 2 world records. In August 2026, Gout Gout will line up at Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon for the World Under 20 Championships in the 200 meters. He has already withdrawn from the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow to be there. His coach Dee Shepherd explained the reasoning plainly. We want him to be running in his late 20s. Athletics Australia backed the call. Skip the big show. Win the title that launches careers. It is the exact move Bolt made 24 years ago. Before Eugene, Gout faces a test no junior race can simulate. On June 10 inches Oslo, he will make his senior Diamond League debut in the 200 meters against Let's-Isle Tobago, the reigning Olympic champion who ran 19.46 inches Paris. Tobago has already said publicly that Gout has the potential to be one of the greatest athletes in history. The admiration is real. On that track in Norway, there will be no gifts. Bolt's words echo here. The circuit does not care about your records, it only cares about what you can do that day. The raw facts still include a gap. Tobago is at 19.46. Lyles holds the American record at 19.31. The world record is 19.19. Between 19.67 and those numbers is real distance. Bolt has never called Gout the finished article. He has called him a massive talent who needs the right people. That is a precise distinction. Talent is the ingredient. The right people are the ones who turn it into a career. Bolt is also worried about track and field itself. He told CNN, athletics needs a bit of a revamp. It needs a little bit more excitement. It's not always about time, but it's about the competition, the energy that it brings, and that's not there anymore. He hears people say the sport declined when he left. Part of what he sees in Gout is that same energy, the kind that fills stadiums and makes casual viewers care. Usain Bolt's final message was about what it takes to survive the moment after a breakthrough. He said the right people around Gout need to help him understand. Not every day is going to be a great day. Not every time you run, you're going to win. It's all about just learning right now at a young age, learning and figuring out, how can I get better? How can I move forward? Gout addressed this himself after Tokyo, walking off as a 17-year-old who had just competed at a senior world championship and missed the final by 1 place. He said, the thing that I have on them is time. They may not have 15 years, but I've got 15 years for sure. So I know that if I can do this at 17, I'll be even better at 25. Bolt heard that.